You know what I really hate is when I see people that are saying, "Oh, German people or British people are just too lazy in order to pick their own vegetables." So I am going to arm you with the knowledge. I am going to give you a jackhammer that you can use to just demolish these arguments so hard that the people that are making the arguments, they're going to cry for the moderators, saying that you're harassing them, to exclude you from the forum by speaking truth to power. Do I need to bulge my eyes? Am I doing a really good AOC impression? Because I understand when you bulge your eyes and you talk about socialism and speaking truth to power, it empowers the speaker. Huh? Yeah. Anyway, right. This is probably the last time I'm going to talk about this because I've exhausted all the talking points. I've made a series of videos, I think 3 or 4, where I discussed about this issue. It is talked about it in my country a lot. And apparently even Nigel Farage is now pointing out the ridiculousness of the situation. Now, I know that I'm going to mention this, and it doesn't matter, because no matter how many times I mention it, there's some person out there that still doesn't get what I'm saying. I do not blame the people that are moving in order to get a job somewhere else, all right? They are not to blame. Write it down. Write the fucking down, because I still will get people that say, well, V, why are you blaming the... Just write it down, right? V does not blame the workers that are traveling abroad. V does not blame the German or the British companies that are paying the workers peanuts. V does not care about the British or the German government, right? Like, write it down so you can freaking understand it. I'm sorry, it's annoying. Like, you make 4 or 5 videos, you explain this in the beginning, and people still accuse you. No, I do blame the Romanian government, which forces me to play Papers, Please every time I leave my home, which has gotten thousands of people unemployed, if not tens of thousands at this point. And all of a sudden, social distancing will resume after a commercial break. So if you're going to go to Britain, well, it's fine. Just pack them all up. Doesn't matter. Bust them around. Put them in an airport. Like, again, if a single person here is infected, right, by this logic, wouldn't it risk other people getting infected? I'm really curious. Or does the virus all of a sudden suspend itself because, well, it understands that people need to go to work to pick the asparagus or to pick the fruits in Britain, right? This is why I am annoyed, because you either believe that people should be allowed to go to work, in which case, why the fuck are we under a quarantine? Or you believe that you're going to save lives if people stay home. But you cannot believe the both things at once, right? Like, it's insane. Anyway, right? This is why I'm upset about the government. Like, they don't let... There are farmers right now. There are Romanian farmers which cannot find farm hands to work in our country. They can't. Why? Because they cannot pay as much as the British and the German companies pay people. That's the reason. They literally can't. The Romanian economy does not afford them to pay them that much. So what happens? Well, the farms in my country, some of them remain unworked. That's a problem, right? Isn't it the problem? Why doesn't the Guardian write about it? Because they constantly talk about, oh, the Romanians, they're so brave. Oh, you clap for me now, blah, 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 blah. What about our country? And in fact, there are already 2 Romanians that are asking the Guardian, why are the Great Britain and Germany harvests more important than the health of Romanians? So you got a journalist from and an economy professor at a university in Great Britain, asking the Guardian and saying that the freedom of movement that the European Union has provided created this migration for survival from Eastern European countries. And the thing is, if this keeps going on, because it doesn't seem like anything will change, I don't see my country improving. Like, how can you improve? Because the Romanian farmer, yeah, they can't pay as much as the British farmer. And they don't have farm funds, so they can't work. But assuming that people were to work in the country, like the government would make some incentives, they would create some tax cuts, they would do certain things, bus people around. Like, look, there are so many teenagers that want to work. When I was 16, I wanted to work. If there was a bus that would come into my city and take me into a farm somewhere, so during the summer, so I can make some extra money, I would have done it at the time. For me, it would have been adventurous. It would have been fun. There was no such opportunity. Like, there would be so many projects where you could get people to work on the farms so that the farmer can start his business, grow, and then, they will be able to pay the same amount And then talk about supply chains. I don't know if Carrefour or Kaufland prefers taking food from a farmer or something. So, maybe create some tax cuts for people that would create a supply chain for Romanian farmers in Romania. Something like that. Like, you can do it. But there is no interest in doing it. Because that would be capitalism. That would be way too much capitalism. When you get people from an impoverished nation to work in a rich nation, that is capitalism. When the impoverished nation starts building its own shit, that is too much capitalism. We need regulations. All right. So let's think about this from a logical point of view. When you hear the idea, British people do not want to pick their own fruit, does it like something, at least in the back of your mind, raise a little bit of a question? It's like, how is this possible? How is it possible? Like, if you have a country with over 70 million people, I think Britain has 80 million now, right? Out of 80 million people, in a time of high unemployment, are you literally telling me that you cannot find at least 1,000 people to pick the fruits? How can you do the math? Like, show me the math where you, like, statistically, it's impossible. So there must be something else. There must be a different reason why British people do not go to work to pick the fruits. Either than the fact that they are lazy. Like, I get it. Half the people are lazy. 40 million people are lazy. But 80 million? Come on. Out of 80 million, you can't find 1,000. Not to mention that I keep hearing that Britain has a lot of immigrants, right, that have settled in. Are they all scientists and doctors? Like, I understand, engineers, doctors, they came from Africa and abroad, but like not a single person that can pick fruit. All of them are lazy as well. So what is the real reason? Well, if you look at it, the real reason is being explained right here. A lot of companies are banned by the law to have company-only stores, as far as I understand. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But what I do understand is that, for example, if I was a farm and I take people in the middle of nowhere and I have a store where I sell them goods and that is like the only store they can purchase from, and I put exorbitant amount of prices there, that's illegal. But you know what's not illegal? If I'm the company and I create a barrack for the people to sleep there and I charge them for the opportunity to sleep in some container housings, that's not illegal. So in other words, if a company gets a foreigner and gets them to use the facilities to sleep there, the company also gets money because it's like a hotel service. So not only like from the work that the person does, let's say they get 9 euros per hour or something like that. They can say, well, 6 euros is for the ability to sleep here. Oh, you want some food? That's an extra euro. So they can undercut the worker, which if you would take local workers, if you would take like British workers from the area, they wouldn't sleep at your place. They wouldn't need to eat at your place. They would come, work, and then go home. And then the company would lose profits. But that's not only it, right? If you look at here, thousands of British workers have applied for these jobs. Farmers get paid for every EU migrant they take on. Nothing if they take one of British workers. So there is a financial incentive in order to take immigrants because you get money from the government than if you take actual British people. Why isn't the left talking about this? This is why I genuinely think that today the left is controlled opposition for capitalism. Like, the more you go towards socialism and communism, believe it or not, it is controlled opposition for multi-billion-dollar corporations. Because I have not seen a communist criticizing multi-billion-dollar corporations. Like, they will say something like, oh, the 1%, oh, the rich, oh, blah, blah, blah. But they never actually go into details and describe what they do not like about the way multi-billion-dollar corporations do things. Or even million-dollar corporations. They never get into like, okay, what aspect do you not like about Facebook? What aspect do you not like about the farms? Like, give me details. They don't do that, do they? Like, they will say something, oh, there's not enough diversity on the board. Oh, there is not enough representation, or they didn't hire an HR consultant, blah, blah. They never actually give you, like open offices. Open offices is cancer. Open offices are done in order to guilt trip people into working extra hours unpaid. They will not say these things. In fact, the more people I see on the Twitter with a hammer and sickle and with their pronouns and the rows and all of the black flags and all this nonsense, they still talk about the factories. What is there to talk about the factories? Like Karl Marx talked about the factories, but the factories were a problem during Karl Marx's times. We have transcended the factories. Most of the factories now are automated, and it's a really good job if you actually work in a factory. You're really well paid. You don't do that much extra hours. It's perfect. Why don't you talk about IT companies? These are the new factories. Like the way most companies are run. Like if you look in America, right? If they want to get cheap labor, what they do, and I think Tucker Carlson made a video about this, they will say they are looking for workers that have the qualifications of an entire IT department. Like literally no one in America, like hundreds of millions of people, 300 I think, they will not have these qualifications because it's impossible. It's like asking for a doctor that has the qualifications of the entire hospital. Like asking for a doctor that's a surgeon, that's a general practitioner, that's a gastroenterologist, that's a neurosurgeon. Like no one has all these qualifications. So what they say is like, well, we can't hire from within the borders because we can't find anyone that. So they have to hire from abroad. And then they hire people from abroad and pay them less than they would pay an American worker. Do you hear the left talking about this? Do you hear them complaining about it? Do you hear them pointing it out? No. Why? Because it's a controlled opposition ideology. I am 100% certain at this point. Like the whole thing is that people who are dissatisfied with the way things work, they're going to be, well, you know, who stands against the rich? Well, the left, socialists. And they become left-leaning, socialists, good, decent people. But when you look at the ideology and what it actually criticizes, you never see them go into detail and criticize, like, what exactly do these multi-billion-dollar companies do wrong? What would you change? What would you improve? What do you disagree? The only thing they say is like, well, the state should control them. All right, so now you know what to tell people that are saying German people are lazy, British people are lazy. No, okay, that is an argument that shows the person who is saying this has the mind of a child. Only children could think like that. In a country with 80 million people, in a country where unemployment is at an all-time high, you cannot tell me that people are lazy. In fact, I know actual Germans on Discord who have tried to get a job working at the asparagus companies. And they were told the companies are filled up. I know British people. You know, these are individual cases that I know because I have so many subscribers. People contact me and tell me. It's like, look, when we heard that there's going to be need for fruit pickers, I tried applying. And I got a response that, no, they're filled up. You know what they would need to do? What they would need to do is to create a Facebook group or a Twitter page. I would be surprised if it doesn't get shut down. But like British people that want to pick fruits. You know, if you're a person that's unemployed in Britain and you really want to pick fruits, like start this Facebook group, gather around 5,000, but I guarantee to you, if you're in a rural area, you might even gather around 10,000 people that are British and want to pick fruits. And then go out and pick it in front of the Guardian. Just pick it and show them, you know, like have these plaques that say, we'll work for food or something like that. So that they are forced to report on it. Because unless this gets into the eye of the public and the public gets to talk about it, you're never going to see any improvement. It damages my country more than it damages yours. It damages Romania more than it damages Britain. Because, all right, you know, like in Britain, I guess like 1,000 people that could have been employed are not going to get employed. In my countries, the farms don't get to start up. So yeah, you know, food for thought. Let me know what you think and I'll see you guys in the comment section.